Today, I want to address a topic that doesn't get nearly enough attention, a topic that affects so many in our community, yet remains unspoken. It's a conversation we need to have, and it's time to face the uncomfortable truth. Why do African nurses' marriages often not last? Why are so many healthcare workers in our community facing divorce? We all know the sacrifices nurses and healthcare workers make every single day. They're saving lives, working long shifts, 16 hours, putting the well-being of others before their own, and giving everything they have. Yet, when they come home after those exhausting days, they find themselves in a different battle. A battle for their marriage, their family, their emotional health. The truth is, the demands of the healthcare profession are grueling. We expect these individuals to be superheroes on the job, but at home, no one is there to check if they're okay. No one's making sure that they have the emotional space to just breathe. And that's where the problems begin. One of the biggest issues is burnout. Nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, they give so much of themselves at work, often without the recognition they deserve. The stress, the physical exhaustion, the emotional weight of caring for others all day, it drains them. By the time they get home, there's nothing left to give to their spouse, nothing left to sustain their relationship. There's no time for deep conversations, no energy for affection, no mental space to connect. Instead of sharing their struggles, they bottle them up. And that's the danger. In many African cultures, there's an overwhelming pressure to be strong. We're taught from a young age that vulnerability is a weakness. So instead of opening up to their partner about how they're feeling, many healthcare workers keep it all inside, hoping it will just get better. But the truth is, when we stop communicating, when we stop being real with each other, we start to drift apart. The foundation of the relationship weakens, and before long, divorce becomes a reality. Let's talk about the financial strain too. In many African countries, nurses, especially those in public hospitals, are severely underpaid. The work they do is life-saving, and yet they're often paid a fraction of what they deserve. They are overworked and underpaid. Meanwhile, they're expected to provide for their families, pay bills, support their children's education, and keep a roof over their heads, all while feeling financially stressed. How do you think that affects the relationship? It puts a strain on everything. And when finances are tight, stress levels rise, and the cracks in the relationship deepen. Then there's the issue of long-distance relationships. Nurses and healthcare workers are often forced to take jobs abroad to earn a better salary. But the cost of that better pay? Emotional and physical distance. When one partner has to live in a different city, country, or continent, the separation begins to take its toll. The absence can feel like a silent killer in the relationship. The physical distance might not seem like much at first, but emotionally, it creates a gap that becomes harder and harder to bridge. And sometimes, when they finally return home, they find that the connection they once had is no longer there. But it's not just about the external pressures. The societal expectations for African women in particular add another layer to the complexity. Society demands that women balance their careers, marriages, and motherhood, all while looking flawless and together. But what about when they come home after a long, taxing day? Where's the space for them to just be? They're expected to be superwomen, holding it all together. But there's only so much one person can carry. At some point, it all becomes too much. And when there's no emotional support, no recognition of their exhaustion, the relationship begins to unravel. Now, let's talk about trust. In healthcare settings, nurses and doctors are constantly surrounded by patients, colleagues, other professionals. And with that comes the potential for rumors, jealousy, and suspicion. Late nights, working with the opposite sex, and the close physical proximity during procedures can sometimes breed mistrust. Partners back home begin to question loyalty, often without any real evidence. And that's when things start to break down. Trust is fragile, and when it's broken, it's hard to rebuild. So, what's the solution? What do we do about this? First and foremost, we need to start talking. Nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, we need to open up. We need to stop pretending everything is fine when we're struggling. We need to communicate our needs, share our challenges, and be honest about how we're feeling. We also need better support systems, not just at work, but at home, from our partners, our families, and our communities. There's no shame in asking for help. There's no weakness in admitting that we're not okay. We need to create spaces where healthcare workers can take care of themselves, just as they take care of others. We need to encourage self-care, mental health support, and relationships where both partners can thrive, not just survive. We need to understand that nurses and healthcare workers are human beings too, not machines. They deserve emotional support, respect, and space to grow, both at work and in their personal lives. Lastly, we need to break the silence. The stigma surrounding mental health, relationships, and divorce in the African community needs to end. We need to give people the permission to talk about their struggles without fear of judgment. Because when we support our healthcare workers, when we take care of those who take care of us, the entire community benefits. It's time to rewrite the narrative. It's time to heal the healer. And it's time to ensure that when nurses go home, they're not just going home to exhaustion, but to love, support, and a marriage that can withstand the pressures of their demanding work. Thank you.